They say if you're going to fall victim to a violent crime, odds are you'll be attacked by someone you know, possibly even a family member. It's kind of weird, but I like to use that fact to judge people's intelligence. Are they shocked to hear it, or not surprised? See, the thing is, even if you never knew that fact, that your attacker will be someone you know, it still makes a lot of sense. It's logical. And if a person is shocked to hear it, well, that tells you something about them, doesn't it? They keep their head in the sand, they don't pay attention. They don't want to know what's going on, and they just want to believe that no one in their little circle of family and friends would be capable of anything like that. It tells you something about their intelligence, you know? I have a lot of little tricks like that. I need the tricks because I'm always meeting new people. See, we move a lot.
Okay, here we are, girls. What do you think?
Creepy.
Sad.
Oh, come on. This place is great. It's a mansion. We're living in a mansion.
That's my little sister Carrie, and my dad. We're moving into a new house, again. I wish I could tell you it was because my dad was in the army or worked for some big corporation or something, but the truth is he was just Dad. Steady employment was not really my father's thing.
Dad, what's this?
What, honey?
The wall's like flaking off here.
Oh, that's just Oh, don't touch it!
Oops.
Nice one, Short Stack.
I didn't do it on purpose.
It's no big deal. It's just some plaster coming off the walls.
Looks like there's a lot of plaster coming off the walls.
You can't seriously be complaining about that.
What?
Autumn, you're a goth, right?
Dad, don't use that word.
I bet all your friends in Hayward would have killed to live in this place. It's practically a haunted mansion.
It's just a house.
I suppose you'd want to go back to the apartment on Pine Street.
Ugh, no.
So, what's wrong? When Aunt Bobby told me about this place, I thought the one person I wouldn't have to convince would be you.
I'm fine. The house is fine.
The house is cool, and it's miles better than the apartment on Pine.
I like the apartment on Pine. It had a pool.
Well, this house has a lake. And besides, in this house you get to pick one of the 5 bedrooms for your own.
I don't have to share with Autumn?
Not in my mansion.
Where are they? Can I see them?
Upstairs. Take any room you want.
Cool.
Well, I think I sold Carrie.
Robert!
Oh, geez. Here, stand there.
Dad!
Just stand in front of the plaster for a minute.
Every wall in this place is peeling. You can't
Just do it.
There you are.
I didn't hear you come in, Aunt Bobby.
I was out back getting some tomato starts. I left here. You get your things in, okay?
Just about. We travel light.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't have someplace newer. This will have to do, I'm afraid.
Oh, any place is fine. You know, we're just the poor relations.
Now, don't talk that way. I'm happy you asked to come. Truth is, I have a hard time keeping up with all the work in town. I'm grateful for the help.
And about that...
Don't suppose you've heard from Barbara?
What? No, we haven't.
I feel worst for your girls. Shouldn't have to grow up without a mother. Even one that goes hellcatting around.
Well, Aunt Bobby, perhaps you could take her place? I'm sure you could use a little bit of hellcatting.
Autumn!
Sorry.
That's all right. I know you've been through a time. Don't hate your mother, Autumn. I'm sure she had her reasons for leaving like that.
Autumn, what do you say?
Thank you, Aunt Bobby.
Autumn?
That's all right.
We both thank you, Aunt Bobby, a lot. This job has been a godsend.
Just glad to be of help.
Speaking of that, if you had a moment, I thought we might want to talk about the terms of my job. You know, what I'll be doing, what hours, how much pay.
Well, I own about 15 rentals in town. You got a cell phone?
Yes.
I'll make sure everyone has that number. When something breaks down, you fix it. Rent collections on the first of the month. I'll take care of that. There's a shed in the backyard full of tools. Should be everything you need. I'll give you today to get settled in, then I'll be back at 8 a.m. tomorrow, take you around to all the properties.
Great. I can't wait to get started. So, how much,
Don't mumble, boy. How much what?
How much does the job pay, Aunt Bobby?
Autumn!
Well, she was going to make you ask it, Dad.
I thought we might have this conversation.
You'll have to excuse Autumn. She's been having a rough time since Barbara left.
No. I like a girl that speaks her mind, as long as there's something to say. I won't mince words with you, Robert. This house is your payment.
What?
You maintain my other properties, mow the grass in the summer, move the snow in the winter, and you are free to live here rent-free as long as you like. Of course, you'll have to look after the electrical and the gas yourself. I can't afford to heat this place all winter.
Wait, so there's no pay? How am I supposed to buy food? Gas to drive around to the properties.
If you keep on top of things, it shouldn't be more than a part-time job. I'm sure you can find something else in town. Not to mention, Autumn here looks like she's capable. Might make a very nice waitress if she got rid of her black makeup and such.
But, Aunt Bobby...
Robert, you have always been my favorite. You know that. Honestly, I was happy when you called me. Everyone else in the family is embarrassed to deal with you. But I've never had a problem calling a spade a spade.
I don't understand.
You haven't kept a job 6 months in your life, boy. You didn't keep up your schooling, and now it's too late. And you married that woman. Against my wishes, I might add. And she's run off. Plain speaking is what you need. And the plain truth is, you've hit rock bottom. You should just thank your Lord and Savior that I was here to catch you.
Yes, Aunt Bobby.
Settle in. Take the day. Here. Brought you a newspaper. In the want-ads in the back there, I circled a couple I thought might be suitable for you.
Thank you, Aunt Bobby.
Oh, don't look so glum. Folks don't like it when you don't smile. I'll see you tomorrow. 8 o'clock sharp.
Yes, see you then. Wow. What a bat, huh?
Dad,
Come on. If we don't hurry, Carrie's going to get all the good bedrooms.
Ugh. That was a hard day. I mean, the situation was nothing new. We were in trouble again, depending on the kindness of some friend or relative who Dad always claimed would help us, and who usually did after he debased himself enough. And that stuff about my mom, that was all true. She had driven into town one night to meet some friends at a bar, but she never arrived. Dad found a note later saying she had some things to work out, that she would get in touch with us when she could. That was 2 years ago. Since then, Dad's jumped from job to job, and we've jumped from town to town. I think my father has some kind of attention span problem. Who knows, maybe he could get help from a doctor, but we can't afford insurance. Everything Aunt Bobby had said was true, by the way, about the relatives. Honestly, I couldn't really blame her for not paying Dad anything. A house is still a house. It's still worth something, though this house wasn't worth much.
Pick a room, any room.
How about the one without dust?
Oh, well, we'll have time to clean.
But we didn't, of course. Aunt Bobby had 15 rentals around town, everything from houses and vacation cabins to a small apartment building. Dad was pretty much gone from 6 in the morning until 7 or 8 at night. Those first few weeks, we survived on food that people gave Dad as a thank you for fixing their toilets or whatever. Eventually, he got good enough at things that he could just take a part-time job at a gas station. Then he was gone even longer. So Carrie and I settled in. She had a bedroom for sleeping and another for all her dolls and stuff. I, in keeping with my bat-like tendencies, took the attic. It was musty and cold, but I found a whole trunk of quilts that I could pile on top of me, so many I felt like I was buried alive. I should have followed that instinct. Maybe if I'd been a little more goth, a little more obsessed with my own death, none of the things that happened would have happened. About a week into our time in the haunted mansion, there was a night when I heard something outside my room.
What is that?
It was chopping. Someone was cutting up firewood on the front lawn at 3 in the morning.
Oh, please, no more weirdness.
And all I could think to do was get underneath my many, many musty quilts and pretend I couldn't hear. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have done something. I would have said something. I would have opened my attic window and yelled at whoever it was to stop. Instead, I just curled up into a little tiny ball and eventually slept. It was only some time later that I learned what had really happened. The high school, as it turned out, was actually pretty cool. It was a small town, and new kids were kind of a novelty. That meant I got a little extra attention and even a few friends.
The jocks are cute, sure, but not in our price range.
Like Miranda. She sought me out right from the start. Miranda was a native from a long line of natives, but she couldn't wait to get out of town. College, a job, it didn't matter to her. She just wanted out. Until she could do that, she placated her anti-town impulse by embracing anything new or different, including me. When we met out front of the school my first day and realized we were wearing the exact same boots, we were friends for life as far as Miranda was concerned. I provided her with a glimpse into the outside world she so adored, and she was my seeing eye chick.
Okay, stay away from that one.
She showed me everything I needed to know about the town.
Looks cute, I know, but he's not right. USDA grade A nutcase.
Miranda, that's so mean.
Okay, he went away 5th grade year because he was setting fires. He's okay now, as long as his medication holds out.
Should you really be talking about people like that?
I told you, everyone knows this stuff already. You can't keep a secret from these freaks.
They're not that freaky. You're the freaky one.
Me? I'm a bastion of normaltude.
That's not a word.
Normality, then. Beneath this black eyeshadow beats the heart of a lawyer or an account executive with a French bulldog and an apartment overlooking Central Park.
You have it all worked out, huh?
Would you like to see the Trapper Keeper I started in 3rd grade? Notes on my future life? It's quite the opus.
3rd grade? That explains why a bulldog instead of a husband.
Oh, the husband's in there. He's got his own section.
Of course he does.
We're going to meet at a conference and have a wild and torrid affair, which will agree to break off after one weekend, but he won't be able to get me out of his mind.
God, Miranda, what are you, 12?
I was when I wrote that.
You have no idea what the real world is like.
A situation soon rectified.
A Central Park apartment? Do you have any idea what it costs to live in New York?
Other cities have Central Parks, don't they?
It would all be expensive, like too expensive.
What do you know about living in New York anyway?
That it looks a lot like the inside of my dad's car with New York outside.
Wait, you actually lived in New York?
2 weeks worth about a year ago.
That is so cool. You lived in Manhattan?
Well, we drove around Manhattan looking for a job. Mostly slept in a parking lot in New Jersey. Pretty view of the skyline, though.
That is so romantic.
How is sleeping in a car with my dad and sister romantic?
You know what I mean. I just think it would be cool to go somewhere and live on the edge like that.
The edge gets tiring. Fast.
You don't know what it's like being stuck in the same place, being asked who your boyfriend is every 5 minutes because everyone expects you to get married and settle down right after community college.
50s much?
I know, right? I'm not planning on becoming a movie star or a best-selling novelist. I just want to live in a place with more than 2 sit-down restaurants.
I get that, but I could get used to this place. At least we have an actual house. We haven't had a house since... Well, we haven't had a house in a long time.
Where do you live anyway?
A really old place down near the lake. I never noticed what street it was.
Wait, really old place with a cupola and a wrought iron fence?
The Haunted Mansion? Yeah, that's us.
OMG, Autumn, do you know where you're living? That is Old Proctor's place.
Who?
Old Proctor, he was the mortician here about 100 years ago, did his work down in the basement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's not the cool part.
Oh, good, because I totally thought it was.
Okay, so the story goes, Old Proctor lost his only son in World War II, Omaha Beach, and he had 3 daughters besides. But after losing his son, he wasn't right in the head anymore. He sold all his mortician stuff and closed the house up and lived in there for like 10 years, never letting the daughters leave. Then, one night, neighbors heard what sounded like chopping wood in the backyard, but it seemed strange. Chopping wood at 3 in the morning, so they investigated. He was chopping up the daughters and burying them in a pit of lye. It was an open and shut case, but when they went to his cell to take him to the gallows, he was already dead of a heart attack.
And let me guess, sometimes you can still hear him chopping at 3 in the morning?
How did you know?
Every town's got a story like that, Miranda.
But this is real. Old Proctor haunts your house, Autumn, and you'd better just hope you never hear that axe.
Why?
They say if you hear the chopping, you'll be the next to die.
Well, sucks to be me then.
What? Why?
What if I told you I woke up to chopping one night, right at 3 a.m. too?
Autumn, do not even joke about that.
Not joking. Oh my god, you look terrified.
I am terrified. For you.
You cannot be serious.
You gotta get out of that house.
I'm sure that will happen soon enough, but I'm not going voluntarily.
No, you don't understand. It's not safe for you there.
It's not safe anywhere. At least here I have a roof over my head, even if it does leak.
Autumn, please. I'm really worried about you.
Miranda, you can't become a sophisticated Manhattan lawyer and still believe in the boogeyman.
Let me come over.
Sure. But what for?
Okay, don't tell anyone this, but I'm a sensitive.
You're a what?
I'm a sensitive. All the women in my family are. I can see the future sometimes and communicate with, well, you know.
Ghosts?
Don't make fun.
I just said the word ghosts.
Please, let me come over and intervene on your behalf.
Yeah, okay.
Really? I can?
Yeah, I gotta ask my dad first.
Ask him tonight.
I gotta go. I've got chem. See you later.
Wait, Autumn!
I got chem.
I know, but listen to me. Even if you don't want me over at your place, you have to find the axe.
What?
Old Proctor's axe, it went missing during the trial. They say if you hear the chopping in the night, the only hope for you is to find the axe, burn it to ashes, then bury the ashes in the grave. The grave in your backyard. Please, let me help you.
You're weirding me out.
I'm being totally serious. You have to let me help you.
I have to ask my dad.
You'll ask him tonight, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't ask him, not right away anyways. See, one of the side effects of being homeless, you don't invite friends over, even if you have a home at the moment. The shame kind of stays with you no matter where you're living. For you, inviting a friend is just inviting a friend. But for me, having Miranda come into my house would be like inviting her to sort my dirty laundry. I liked Miranda. Why would I ask her to do that? I don't think I would have invited her at all, except stuff changed.
Autumn,
Like it always does for us.
can I come in?
What is it?
I can come back.
Wait. Stop. Why are you being polite? It's weird.
It's nothing. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Come in.
Really?
I was just doing some homework and junk. Come on. We'll have a sister talk.
Okay.
What's up, Short Stack?
Nothing. Do you like this house?
Beats the car.
I guess.
Do you like this house?
I thought I did, but Dad's never around anymore, and I'm getting tired of peanut butter and jelly.
I was thinking I'd maybe get a job. Maybe in a restaurant where we can eat free all the time.
Yeah,
Bacon and eggs every day?
I guess.
Okay, seriously, what is up with you?
Do you like school? Do you have friends and stuff?
Yeah, well, I have one pretty good friend. Do they not treat you well in school?
The teachers are really nice, and I like playing basketball with the boys. They don't seem to care. But the girls, I don't know.
Girls can be really mean.
They keep teasing me about the house.
You mean about old Proctor?
You know?
Yeah, my friend Miranda told me.
They say we're all going to get murdered because we live here.
No, that's not what I heard.
What did you hear?
Well, my friend Miranda is kind of the local expert on this stuff. She says whoever hears old Proctor chopping wood in the yard is the next to die.
I heard that, but it wasn't wood. He was chopping up his little girls.
The point is, have you heard anyone chopping wood in the yard?
No,
Then you're safe. And you tell the stupid girls at school that too.
I don't feel safe. Sometimes I wish we were living in the car again. That way, no matter what was wrong, all Dad needed was $10 for gas and we could get away.
You're getting smart.
Yeah?
Yeah, except you can't always drive away from this stuff.
We did for years.
Tell you what, you want to know something else about old Proctor? Something that could help?
What?
My friend told me that they lost old Proctor's axe. If you can find it, burn it, and bury it in the yard, he'll go away forever and we'll be safe.
Really?
That's what Miranda says.
And she's an expert?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of junk down in the basement.
That's usually the way it is in old houses.
I bet if I looked around there, I'll find the axe.
If you find it, I'll help you burn it.
Cool. Thanks, Autumn.
Sometimes I really love my little sister. Maybe it was just our living arrangements then, that we had a house and weren't climbing all over each other all the time, but I really did love her right then. That's what made the unbelievable intense chill I felt so disturbing. I was pretty sure that Carrie wasn't going to find the axe. I was pretty sure there was nothing to the ghost story of old Proctor. I was pretty sure of a lot of things at that moment. But within a week, I was sure of nothing. Not even my little sister's life.
Oh, cool! You said that about every room in the house.
This is your room? This is amazing.
It's an attic.
It's so, you know.
Not really.
The eaves and the windows, I'll bet ice forms on the inside of the glass during the winter from the fog of your breath.
Yeah, I was thinking of covering it all up with blankets to keep from freezing to death.
You're such a spoil sport.
Who says spoil sport anymore?
You just don't see the poetry of this place. It's more than 4 walls and a roof, you know.
No, that's exactly what it is. 4 walls and a roof.
No, it's living history, unspoken rumors, and unspeakable acts.
Would you like some parchment and a quill pen? You should really be getting this down.
One of them slept in this room, you know.
What?
One of the girls. She slept in this room. It was the eldest, I think. She was just our age when the brother died in the war.
Okay, I'll know or regret this. How exactly do you know one of the daughters slept in this room?
I can feel her.
Miranda.
Don't make fun. I told you I'm a sensitive.
But seriously, you can't
Don't
really...
make fun. It's hard enough being the freak to everyone else in town. I don't want to be that to you.
Oh, you're a freak, all right. I'm just a bigger freak, and we freaks have to stick together.
Right? But you're not a freak.
I'm the one gonna get ghost murdered.
And don't say that. You think that you're being funny, but you're not. There's a real threat here, Autumn, and I'm going to help.
Okay, I'm sorry for joking.
Thank you.
So, what do you need?
I brought everything with me. Really, just some candles and chalk.
You aren't gonna draw a pentagram on the floor, are you?
Would your dad freak?
My dad would probably not notice, but I really don't want to explain the pentagram to my sister.
Not a pentagram, a different symbol called a seance circle.
Okay.
And get the judgmental tone out of your voice. I'm trying to help.
It was not easy to go along with Miranda on this stuff, but she was so childlike and enthusiastic.
Done! Oh, that's my best circle yet.
I couldn't help myself. So she made her big circle on my attic room floor and put her candles at the 4 poles, north, south, east, and west, though I was pretty sure she was off a degree or 2. And then we sat, 2 of us in the circle, sitting cross-legged, holding hands. She started to go into a trance, or at least pretended to go into a trance. And I just sat there and felt silly.
Don't say anything, just relax and try to feel the spirits.
I'll try. Do you need anything?
No, just relax and don't talk.
You're the one doing all the...
Shh.
What started out as kind of funny pretty soon became weird. You ever just sat with someone holding their hands for 5 or 10 minutes? You become aware of every little thing about them. Miranda's breathing was very regular, and her palms were dry and cool, even though mine were sweaty. She didn't seem to move, I mean, not even a muscle. I began to worry that she'd had a stroke or something. Until she finally did make a sound, like a long breath, an exhale, and then for some reason, I became aware of everything around us. Have you ever just sat in a really old house, a beat-up house, and listened? They're not quiet at all. There's 1,000 little creaks and groans, the foundation settles, and the windows rattle, all kind of noises going on. And to sit there with a girl keeping perfectly still, just barely breathing, it was freaking me out.
Are you there?
Oh, you scared me.
But she didn't hear me. She was gone.
We call on you. Are you there?
I got a bad chill then, as bad as the one I got when I sent Carrie off to find the axe. All I heard was a creak. That was all. But the timing of it, hearing it just as Miranda asked if anyone was there, it was troubling.
We wish a conference. We must have a conference.
Miranda.
Speak to us. Please speak to us.
Miranda, I don't want to do this anymore.
Come to us, angry spirit. Come to us.
You're hurting my hands. Let go.
Come to us. We order you to come to us.
Miranda, please let go of me.
You cannot have these as you had the others. Leave this house.
Stop it. I want you to stop.
Spirits of this house, come before us. We order you to leave Autumn alone. We order...
What's wrong? Oh my gosh, Miranda, your leg.
Find the others. We have to find the others.
What others?
Find the others. We have to.
Your leg, it's bleeding.
Ow! What happened?
You got cut. You're bleeding.
What?
You're bleeding. Get some pressure on it.
Don't you see?
What? What is it?
Can't you see? The cut.
Get some pressure on it.
No, look at it.
What?
He came into the room.
I think he just...
The wound on my leg was made with an axe.
Keep pressure on it.
You won't know who to trust.
The blood got everywhere. I don't think Miranda was in any real danger, but she was going to need stitches. I knew a little first aid, and we got pressure on the wound right away, but I had to call my dad at the gas station because I didn't have a car, and Miranda was in no condition to walk home. So my dad came and drove Miranda home. I went along to hold her hand
Trust no one.
and listen to her babbling.
Find the others. Trust no one. Find the others. Trust no one.
We dropped her off at her house. Dad talked to her mom, who seemed ready to call the cops on us, but didn't. Then we drove back home in silence. No one said anything until we walked back through the front door, which is when the fireworks began.
Stop!
I've got homework and stuff, so I should just...
Stop. Just stop. What happened?
What do you mean? She had an accident.
She's gonna need stitches, Autumn. What kind of accident would cause that? What do you have up in your room?
What?
Are you cutting?
What?
You know what I mean.
No.
Are you sure? Because...
Miranda does.
Really?
Yeah, she does. She was even taken out of school for it for a while in the 5th grade. You can ask anyone.
Well, I thought cutters just broke the surface. That cut was...
Dad, what do you think is going on? You think I'm hiding an axe up in my room or something?
What did you say?
I said you think I'm hiding a... Ah!
Do you?
Do I what?
Do you have an axe up in your room? Tell me.
He wasn't himself. His eyes were totally different, changed,
Tell me where it is.
wild.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're hurting me. Let go.
Tell me!
Dad, let go.
Just tell me where it is.
Where what is? I don't know what you're talking about.
If you have it.
Isn't it bad enough that you drag us all over the country and now you're gonna start beating on us?
He stopped dead, staring at me. Then it was like his eyes started to clear, and he was my dad again.
What?
I want out of here. I want to go find Mom.
Oh, honey,
You can't stop me.
I'm sorry. I
I'll
didn't...
run away. I'll do whatever it takes to stay alive. You understand? Whatever it takes.
But wait, stop. It's okay. It's okay. I lost my head.
Over an axe?
I know. It's the 2 jobs, the pressure, and everything.
Why an axe, Dad?
What? Nothing. I needed it the other day at one of the properties and couldn't find it. I thought you might have it.
That's why you were just freaking out?
I told you, Autumn, I'm not myself. And when that girl cut herself...
What?
Your friend, she cut herself, didn't she? That's what you said.
Oh, right.
When she cut herself, I thought it might have ended up in your room somehow.
Well, it isn't there. I don't know where your axe is.
Okay, honey. You should try to help that girl. Cutting is usually a sign of a bigger problem.
Right.
I gotta get back to work.
Okay.
You call me if you need anything, okay? Okay, hon? Bye-bye now.
He turned and practically ran out of the house. I could see the fear in his eyes, like he was afraid of me. We'd fought before. I'd even threatened to leave before. Dad's biggest fear that I'd end up on the street turning tricks for food. It was like living in a car and eating out of the garbage was all perfectly okay as long as his daughter's virginity was intact. But before I said those things, before the conversation turned, he wasn't even himself. I remembered something Miranda had said.
You won't know who to trust.
What did she mean by that? I headed to my room. The pentagram or circle or whatever it was still drawn on the floor. The candles burned down to the nubs. We'd forgotten about them completely in the rush to get Miranda home. It was a miracle we didn't burn the house down. I was feeling empty, like I was just floating through life. The things I told Dad about Miranda cutting, those were lies. I sat on my bed and thought about how quickly I turned on my only friend. What kind of person would do that? What kind of person was I? That night, it was hot in the attic, too hot for October. I opened all the windows and listened to the crickets and the bugs buzz all around me. They'd be dead soon. Winter was coming. A time for cold and wind and fire. It could be Dad was outside chopping wood. We did have a fireplace after all. But I knew it wasn't him. I'd heard him come into the house around 6, go to his room, close the door, and not make another sound. The chopping I heard, the axe falls against something outside in the yard. I knew weren't really there. I knew it. But I had heard it just the same. Miranda had said that meant I was next for the axe. It was time to find out for sure. Another lesson from the homeless: libraries are cool. Whenever we rolled into a new town, the public library was the first place we checked out. They're out of the weather. They have chairs or couches or some place for a quick nap. You can even get a shower, sort of, in the bathroom if you're discreet about it. And best of all, they kind of have to take you. So over the years, I've become a library expert. I've got pretty good at figuring out where things are and who does what. That's important. Because if you're going to do research about murders in the town's history, you don't want to ask the cheerful children's librarian. You want to ask the old lady who never deals with the public. Every town's library has one like that, including this one. She was about 60 and was always making notes out of a big book at one of the back tables. I knew she worked there because she had a lanyard with a city ID on it, but that's all I've ever seen her do. Another homeless tip: learn to size people up. This old lady, for example, would not be sweet-talked. You're the town historian. But give her a title. Give her a reason to look down her nose at you, and she'd open up like a book.
What's that?
You're the town historian, aren't you?
We have no town historian, not since 1983, when the first round of budget cuts came down. Henry Wilson did it volunteer for a while, but he died in 96.
Then what are you doing?
If you must know, I'm doing the Where Are They Now column for the local paper. One of the few jobs they'll still let me do around here.
Sounds like fun.
Well, it is, if you want to know the truth.
I like research. What book is that?
Bound copies of the Daily Tribune. We have them going back to 1936.
Do those check out?
Of course not. But if you ask the desk, they'll bring you the years you need.
I was playing dumb. I knew the book she was looking through didn't check out because it didn't have a catalog number on the spine. And I also knew it was a bound copy of an old newspaper because, well, that's what it looked like. It's important to play dumb at first. That way they feel like they're helping someone less fortunate. Someone like this could save me hours and hours of looking through old newspapers.
Do you do other research?
What do you mean, other research?
You know, do people ever come to you with questions? Like questions that the Historical Society can't answer?
The Historical Society? I doubt those old women know anything. They just collect quilts and old furniture.
That's what I thought. And I heard you were the one to ask about stuff.
What stuff? Speak up.
Well, history, crime, murder.
Oh, the sensational. I might have guessed. You teenagers running around dressed like vampires are always interested in that sort of thing.
Actually, it's a little more personal. I live at 213 Cliff Road.
I see.
We've been there for about a month, and the kids at school have been telling me stories about the place.
The Proctor murders of 1956.
Yeah.
And you want to know if they really happened? Well, I can bring you the book for 1956. You can read all about it.
Okay, but
But what?
what I really want to know is, have there been others?
The old woman looked at me for a while, just looked at me like she was sizing me up. I knew that look. When you're homeless, you get that look with every human interaction. Store clerk, guy on the street, everything. Most of the time, I looked down at the pavement because I knew what their conclusion would be. They'd think I was a poor little street girl, homeless, living out of her car. Only now, I wasn't homeless anymore. It was kind of thrilling to look this woman in the eye, knowing I had every right to ask what I was asking. Hell, I even had a library card.
Wait here.
Her chair scraped loudly as she got up and marched back behind the main desk. Honestly, I didn't think someone that old could move that fast, but I guess I must have motivated her. She was back in 2 minutes with a yellow folder, bulging with papers and bound together, barely, with 3 or 4 rubber bands. She marched over to a table close to hers, but not so close that we could talk. The folder hit the table like a gunshot.
What you want is in here. It's all chronological, so do not put the papers out of order. Do you understand?
Is this all about my house?
Oh, of course not, but your house's information is in there. Nothing is to be put out of order. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is acid-free paper, but I'd prefer you wear these gloves.
Seriously?
This is my personal research. Are the gloves a problem?
No, of course not.
She held out these thin cotton gloves, and I took them. Then she left me and returned to her table 30 feet away. Whenever I looked up, she was staring at me like she was 2 seconds away from leaping across the room and taking her precious photocopies back. But she didn't. She sat there and stared judgmentally. I didn't care. I was wearing clean clothes that I'd put on right after showering in my very own house, and that meant she could go to hell, as far as I was concerned. I'd asked, and she said yes, and that made me mighty. As I started going through the folder, the old woman's attitude started to make sense. Inside were newspaper and magazine clippings, each photocopied onto a stiff white paper. Most were from local newspapers. Others were from magazines or the big city paper that they delivered in town. All of them were about something horrible. There were kidnappings, murders, arson. There were sections about serial criminals, most of whom were never caught, clipped together with these nice brass paper clips. There seemed to be everything in there, everything that had to do with misery and suffering and death. And whenever I looked up, the old librarian was still staring at me, looking, I guess, for a reaction. About 2/3 of the way through the pile of papers, I came upon a stack that was clipped together like the serial killer stacks. Only this stack began in 1956 with an article titled, "Local Man Charged with Murder." There were a dozen articles from that year, and the facts were more or less what Miranda had told me. Turns out there were only 2 daughters, and the father had retired before his son went to war, but everything else was just as she said. Finding him in the back of the yard, the chopping, the pit of lye, it was all there. And he was found dead when they came to take him to the death chamber, which wasn't the gallows, as Miranda thought, but the electric chair. The case was closed in 1957 with Proctor's death, but the section in the folder was only half finished. She put in a real estate listing from 1960 that labeled the house a real fixer-upper with a picture from years earlier. Then in 1963, a man hanged himself in the basement, distraught, they said, over the Kennedy assassination. In 1965, a little girl went missing and was found in the house, which was vacant then. She'd been molested and had told everyone a big black man did it. People freaked for a while, and the few black families in town moved away. I stopped reading for a moment and tried to think if I'd ever seen a non-white face since moving here. I couldn't remember. Next was a domestic dispute in 1972. A woman, a nurse, planned to murder her husband, but he found out about it and caved her head in with a softball bat. When he saw what he'd done, he found the poison she'd meant for him and took it anyway. In the 80s, 2 more murders. In the 90s, someone tried to convert the place into apartments, but the business failed and the owner slit her wrists in the clawfoot tub on the 2nd floor. The last event noted was a domestic dispute in 2005. A woman stabbed her boyfriend in the kitchen, then took him to the hospital. It was just a superficial wound, and he didn't press charges. They moved out the next week. The final clipping in the file was from just a year ago. It wasn't a crime story, it was just a holiday feature from last Halloween. They called our place the most haunted house in the state, related the legend of old Proctor, and listed a few more notable crimes. I straightened the papers, put them back in the file, and wrapped it all up again.
Find what you need?
I kept things just the way you said.
I would hope so.
I did have one more question, though.
Yes.
There was nothing in here about the legend, about if you hear old Proctor chopping in the backyard, you're the next to die.
Kids have been telling that story almost since it happened.
Do you think it's true?
Don't be foolish. It's just a boogeyman story. There is no such thing as ghosts.
Just murderers and rapists, right?
A polite person might thank me for offering to share this research. It is mine, after all.
Thank you. Can I ask one more question?
That's what I'm here for.
A friend of mine, she's kind of into this stuff. She's worried about me.
Worried about the ghosts getting you?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess. She said something to me. She said I had to find the others. Do you know what that might mean?
The others?
Yeah, I don't know what she means by that.
I haven't the foggiest. Though it could be one thing.
What?
My research is factual. I deal in the known, not flights of fancy. But I cannot guarantee that the stories in this file are all the stories there are to tell.
You mean there might be other murders?
Might be. When a girl goes missing in this town, the morons around here tend to blame that house first.
What do you mean by a girl?
What?
You just said when a girl goes missing. Have a lot of girls gone missing around here?
Children go missing sometimes.
How many?
It's right there in the folder if you'd bother to...
How many?
5. 5 little girls in the last 30 years. Possibly more before that.
Do you think they're in the house?
There's no evidence to suggest anything of the kind.
Yeah, but what do you think?
Then she got up without a word, picked up her folder, and walked away. I left and started to walk home, slowly. I knew stuff now, about the house and old Proctor, but I didn't know enough. And I was pretty sure only one person could help.
Before you say anything, thank you for talking to me.
You need to quit texting me.
I know.
If my mom knew I was talking to you...
I'll make it quick.
Good. They have me under observation.
Oh my God, Miranda, what's wrong?
There have been nightmares.
God.
I've started sleepwalking again.
Again?
The medication had taken care of it. I told you, everyone in this town is messed up.
Why didn't you tell me any of this stuff before you came over?
Because I knew you wouldn't let me come.
I should go.
Why did you call?
I really should go.
Don't protect me. You're the one that needs protecting.
Miranda,
Why did you call?
I wanted to ask you about something you said.
I don't remember very much.
I know, but it was something you kept repeating.
What?
You kept saying, find the others.
Oh?
You remember?
Yeah, that part I do.
I have to know. Who are the others?
I don't know. I was in a trance. I don't remember.
Yes, you do. I can hear it in your voice.
I don't think it's real.
What? You don't think what's real?
What I remember, I was really messed up that night in your room. I thought I heard voices, but it could have just been my imagination.
Did you say you heard voices?
Yeah. But you have to remember, I have a really vivid imagination, and I knew about the little girls disappearing already.
What did you hear, Miranda?
I heard them. I heard them crying. They were alone. They were lost.
And I need to find them?
Don't listen to anything I say.
Miranda,
It's going to be really important to me that you don't listen to me anymore. I overdo things. I always have. I'm too dramatic and I hurt people I care about.
Miranda, will you please...
It's Kathy.
What?
My name is really Kathy. I think it would be better if you called me that from now on.
Who thinks that?
I just need to go now, okay? Can you let me go?
Can you give me any more help? I need to find the others, Miranda.
Kathy.
I need to find the others. Can you give me any more help?
Crowbar.
What?
I don't know. The word just popped into my head. Crowbar. Now will you please let me go?
I didn't say anything after that. There was a long pause on the line, and eventually she hung up. Miranda couldn't talk anymore. Maybe the seance in my room that night had scared her so badly she retreated and needed to be Kathy for a while. I hoped she would become Miranda again. But for right now, she told me what I needed. Old houses always have basements, big basements. Some are just one big room, but ours had been divided into a rabbit warren of tiny spaces. Maybe it went back to when the house was a mortuary. I don't know. But it seemed like our basement had grown rooms like a tree grows limbs. There were stuffy little hallways and tiny spaces just big enough for a stack of boxes. There was one room that had a work table and a set of shelves along one wall. It was pretty clear that this was old Proctor's workshop, I guess. I looked around all the rooms, but kept being drawn back to this one. Crowbar, Miranda had said. Was I looking for a crowbar? Something I could use a crowbar on? I tried to empty my mind and just look at the room. It was then I noticed something. The floor was concrete and very smooth, but over in one corner, it kind of sloped down in one place, not on accident, but like it had been built that way. Like if water hit the floor, they wanted it flowing over to this corner. There was a big shelf sitting there, but it was empty and easy to move. Underneath the shelf, I discovered one of those old-fashioned metal covers, manhole covers, sitting right in the corner. I'd need a crowbar to get it up. I went back upstairs, headed out to the shed, and found a crowbar hanging on the wall. Back inside, it took a little doing, but I managed to get the cover off. And yeah, there was a hole. It didn't seem very deep. I got a flashlight and looked around, and it only went down about 5 feet or so, but the floor down there was covered in black water. I didn't know how deep it might be, but the smell was incredible. I covered up my mouth with my shirt and looked down there as long as I could stand it. Were the others down there? Was this a grave for those 5 little girls that had disappeared over the years? What was I gonna do? Dig them up? Call the police? Call Dad? I took my head away from the manhole to get some more fresh air. I kind of knew what I had to do. Luckily, the water was only about 6 inches deep, but my shoes were ruined. There was a little room down there, about 5 feet square. It smelled like spoiled meat. Something swam by my foot and touched my ankle. That's when I decided I had to make it quick. The walls of the little cell were covered in slime and gunk. There was no light or eaves in the ceiling, but I did notice a lip all around the outside edge of the room. The walls of this little cell came about 6 inches short of the ceiling. I shined the light from my phone all around and saw in the far corner a bundle on top of the lip. The lip was covered in mud and muck. As I reached for the bundle, I tried to keep from touching anything. I mostly succeeded. It was a canvas bag about 3 feet long. Something hard was inside. My heart was racing, but I threw the bag back up out of the manhole to the basement and climbed back up. And when I got out of that pit of muck and mire, I was rewarded with the light of the cellar room and the chance to take up the bag and remove its contents. It contained a rusty, double-bladed axe. It was old, just about as old as you would expect it to be. I sat there on the cold basement floor and looked at it. My head was swimming, probably from the fumes of whatever was in that little cell beneath the floor, so I got up. I put everything back more or less like I'd found it, took the axe upstairs to my room and hid it under my mattress. Then I took a long shower to get the stink out, but also to think. I knew what we had to do, but I also knew I was going to need help.
What are you doing here? Did you get my message? No, I turned my phone off. What are you doing? I need your help. I told you I can't do anything. I found it. I found the axe. I don't think... It was hidden in the basement under this old manhole cover, and I needed a crowbar to lift. You understand? A crowbar, just like you said. I didn't say anything like that. Now I need to complete it, Miranda. I need to burn the axe and bury it in the grave. I need your help. No, I need your help. Please. All you wanted to do was help me last week. Now you won't even tell me where the grave is? I don't know where the grave is. Miranda, please. I really don't. I'm sorry. But they said it was a pit of lye. I think that means that nothing should be growing there. Look for a dead spot in your yard. What about the rest? Do we just, burn it? Burn it in the barbecue or something, so you know you have all the ashes. Okay, good. Anything else? I don't know. Leave me alone, please. I haven't slept since that night. I'm sorry. It's okay. I did what I could. Everything will work out. You'll get better. No, I won't. Don't say that. No, I won't. I'll never live this down, Autumn. I'll always wonder if I could have helped you more. Well, it's not too late. No, it is. What? I'm sorry, Autumn, but you're already dead.
She looked at me for a while. Just looked at me with this sad expression, like she was looking at a photograph of an old friend. Then she slid the window closed quietly, drew some curtains, and I was by myself again. I felt that chill again and hurried to get home. It was getting late. Rain was on the way, and there was less than an hour of daylight left. I got a shovel from my dad's tool shed and started checking around our property. There was plenty of dead spots in the yard, but only one that seemed about the right size, and kind of, I don't know, artificial. The other spots were splotches where the grass was dead, but this spot was a rectangle, and the dirt was paler than any place else. Also, it was right below my window, right about where I would have heard the axe chopping, so I went to work. Down near the tool shed, there was an old barbecue. I dumped all the ashes out and set it up next to the hole I dug. I found some lighter fluid and some gasoline. I hoped it would be enough. The axe had been down in that sewer for years. I had no idea how much fluid it would take to burn. I was just about to head back up to my room and get the axe when...
Autumn?
Oh, Bobby, you scared me.
What in creation are you doing out here?
We're going to barbecue for dinner.
Oh?
Yeah, hamburgers.
I see, and you need a hole for that?
Oh, that hole? I don't know. Dad dug that.
Uh-huh. Well, come along. I have a job for you.
What?
I dropped an earring and it slipped under the oven. I need one of you girls to come fish it out.
Now? I really can't.
It'll take just a minute. Now, come on.
But I was gonna make...
Come along, girl. My car's running.
Just what I needed. Just what I frickin' needed. But what could I do? Explain how I needed to exorcise a ghost from her haunted house? Knowing Aunt Bobby, she'd probably take that as a sign of mental instability, blame my father, then sue for custody. Then she'd have 2 slaves working for her 24/7. So I rode with the old bat to her house, got down on my hands and knees for her stupid earring.
Thank you, girl. Here's $1 for your trouble. Can you get yourself home? I have to start my supper.
Yes, I guess.
What do you say?
Thank you for the $1.
That's all right.
So I left Aunt Bobby's and hurried home. I ran as fast as I could, but it was over a mile back to our house. It was dark by the time I got there. I was happy to see my father's car still wasn't in the driveway, and that the barbecue and everything was still right there where I left it. There were lights on upstairs. I ran up the stairs as fast as I could. I never stopped to look for Carrie. I never stopped to see if she was there. I just headed up the stairs to my room. And into hell.
Hello, Autumn. I see you found the axe.
Yeah. Where's Carrie?
She's around here somewhere. Do you mind telling me where you found it?
In the basement. Dad, are you okay?
Of course. This is a very old axe. It's very valuable.
Where's the car?
It's back at work. I need to return to work. I just had to come home on an errand.
Dad, where's Carrie?
I think she was playing in the basement. Why don't you go check on her?
Okay. I turned and left him sitting there on my bed holding the axe like it was his child, and I ran. I went down to Carrie's room and grabbed a coat for her. Then I headed downstairs.
Carrie? Carrie, where are you?
I didn't want to go down to the basement. Only one entrance meant we could be cornered easily. But what choice did I have? And I had an idea where I could find her.
Carrie!
She was in the back room, old Proctor's workshop. She was crumpled on the floor.
No, please no.
But we had a little luck anyway.
Autumn,
Oh, thank God you're all right.
what's happening?
I don't know. We need to get out of the house.
That's it.
I know. We need to go.
Are we going to Aunt Bobby's?
Maybe. I don't know. Here's your coat. Let's go.
She was staggering like she was drugged or something. I had to help her climb the stairs. That's when I noticed a little patch of blood on the top of her head.
Did you hit your head, short stack?
I don't remember.
Did Dad do it?
I want to rest. Can we rest?
Come on, let's just keep going.
We got up to the main floor. I listened, but heard nothing. But then as we headed out into the night, I realized the front door was open. Had I closed it when I came in? I was pretty sure I had. I took Carrie to the threshold of the doorway and looked out. It was fully dark and the rain was falling. We had our coats on. If I could get to the end of the road, we could head to town. Maybe we'd go to the cops. Maybe we'd go to the bus station and get out. I didn't know. I just knew I had to get away from that place. Come on.
It's raining.
I know. It'll be good for your head. We can't, Carrie. We have to get away. She was half conscious. I was more dragging her than anything. We were halfway down the front walk when...
What's that sound?
It's nothing. Keep going.
I don't like that sound.
We're just about to the street. Just keep going. We can... I couldn't believe it. The iron gates, the gates I thought were just ornamental, they'd been shut and chained. A big, brand new padlock hung right in the middle. I looked to one side and then the other. The fence went right around the property. I might have been able to climb it, but I couldn't drag Carrie over. We had to find another way. So we turned away from the gate and started along the fence. I knew there had to be another gate or a gap or something. Just keep moving.
It stopped.
What stopped? What are you talking about?
That sound, it stopped.
What do you mean? You mean...
The chopping.
Dad!
She means the chopping.
We were trying to find you.
No, you weren't. You were trying to leave.
Well, we wanted to go see Aunt Bobby.
You shouldn't lie so much, Autumn. It will get you in trouble someday.
Were you chopping the wood? I mean, was it you out that night, chopping the wood for the fireplace?
I've never swung an axe in my life.
Why do you have an axe now, Dad?
It takes a lot of skill to swing an axe properly. You can really get hurt if you don't know what you're doing.
Dad, why do you have that axe?
I've never swung an axe in my life, Autumn.
Dad, stay back.
But then again, I haven't really been myself lately.
Stay back!
Come on, girls, it's raining out. We should go down into the basement where it's dry.
Dad, please.
Nice and dry and sanitary.
Dad!
Where we have everything we need.
Dad, no! And a hand holding a rock came out of the trees, striking my father in the head, and he fell. And the axe fell free. From out of the shadows of the trees, a figure emerged looking pale and troubled, but otherwise okay. Miranda?
Get the axe, Autumn. Get it over to the pit. Now.
You came!
Of course I did. We're friends. We'll always be friends. Come on.
We went together to the iron cauldron of the barbecue, doused the axe in lighter fluid, and set it on fire. As wet as it was, it burned pretty good. We dumped the ashes into the hole, along with the double-edged blade, which was blackened but otherwise unhurt by the fire, and covered everything up with dirt. Miranda and I took Carrie up to her room and tucked her in. On the way downstairs, I saw the light of my father's room was on, and he was moving around inside. I heard him softly crying, and I realized that things were probably going to be okay. I took Miranda to the front door as quietly as I could. The gate's still locked up. Can you get home?
I got in, didn't I?
How did you, by the way?
Please, Autumn. This is the town's haunted house. Every kid who grew up here knows a dozen ways into this house.
I hadn't thought of that. Why did you come back? Really?
I told you. We're friends.
But before you said I was already dead.
Yeah, well, I was always better at talking to spirits than telling the future.
Should I get Carrie and leave? I mean, is my dad himself again?
I don't know. Like I said, I can't tell the future, but I think... Yeah, the presence I feel here isn't really as strong as before.
She looked at me for a bit, a touch of sadness in her eyes, and then hugged me and turned away. She disappeared into the trees along our fence, and I never saw her again.
Come on, girls. We gotta hit the road.
And you promise I can have my own room again?
I promise. Let's just go.
Within a week, Dad told Aunt Bobby off, packed our stuff, and we were on our way to wherever. He never talked about that night. He never seemed to remember it. Right before we left, I caught him looking long and hard at the spot where we'd buried the axe, but he didn't make a move toward it. As far as I know, the axe is still there. Carrie just sat in the car, moping. It was unusual for us to make a move without her complaining bitterly, so I took this as a good sign. We were getting out. We were moving on. Dad wasn't quite himself yet, but that was probably a good thing. As for me, I didn't mind moving away from my attic room. When you're homeless, you're always part way ready to leave. No matter how much you like the place you're in, Who knows? I might come back someday. I'll be 18 in 2 years. Maybe then I can move back and Aunt Bobby will let me stay in the place. Maybe Miranda and I can move in together, run the place like a bed and breakfast with seances in the evenings. For now, it was just enough to be alive. I had heard old Proctor chopping his axe and lived to tell about it. According to Miranda, I was one of the first ever to do that. It almost gives you hope, you know? Hope that...
Dad? Dad! You're headed straight for that truck!
I'm sorry, Autumn. He didn't give me any choice. Gotta chop the wood, one way or the other.
This has been Autumn's Ashes, written and directed by Jeffrey Adams. Featured in our cast this evening were Autumn Silvers as Autumn, Heather Earls played Miranda, Jim Yunt portrayed Robert, Gavia Yunt played Carrie, Vicki Olsen was the librarian, and Diane Adams played Aunt Bobby. Sound effects created and rendered by Dave Irwin. Editing and post-production by Jeffrey Adams. This program copyright 2014 by the Icebox Radio Theater. All rights reserved. To learn how you can support the IBRT and New Audio Theater, visit iceboxradio.org.